Welcome back to another episode of the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Corey, Jason, John, Pauline, Dylan, Mel, WBC, full swing. First pool play round is just about over. Teams have one, maybe two more games left, depending on what team you are. Just a quick run through of the standings. Pool A, which is taking place in San Juan. Puerto Rico, they clinched a spot in the quarterfinals. Their record is 3-0. Cuba, 2-1. Canada, 1-1. Colombia, 1-3. Panama, 1-3. So it looks like Canada or Cuba could get that second spot, depending on how the next games go. Pool B is in Houston. Team USA, 3-0 in their spot. Italy, 2-0. Mexico, 2-1. Great Britain, 1-3. Brazil, 0-4. Team USA has not clinched a spot in the quarterfinals, even though they're 3-0, because theoretically there could be a three-way tie if Team USA loses to Italy, and they're currently down 5-0 as we record this. And if Mexico beats Italy tomorrow on Wednesday, then it could be a three-way tie, and USA could be left out in the dust because it goes with runs given up, and not just in your group, only between the three teams that you're going up in a tie with. So it's how many runs did you give up to Italy? How many runs did you give up to Mexico? Team USA gets shut out. Italy gets a spot. They get the number one spot then who knows with Mexico. But if Mexico loses to Italy and Italy beats USA, USA is in as the number two spot. Italy wins their pool, which would be a bit of an upset, given that most people had USA and Mexico coming out of Pool B. Pool C, that's taking place in Tokyo. Japan, they clinched 4-0. Korea, they clinched with a 2-2 record. Australia, 2-2. Taiwan, 2-2. Czechia, 0-4. That one's pretty much done. That one is done. Everybody played all their games. Japan and Korea will be coming stateside for the next round. And then Pool D, that's in Miami. Venezuela, they clinched with a 3-0 record. DR, they clinched with the 3-0 record. Israel, 1-2. Netherlands, 1-2. Nicaragua, 0-4. So they're not completely done, but we know who's going to the quarterfinals. It is going to be the top two teams in each group. So we have Puerto Rico, Japan, Korea, Venezuela, and the Dominican Republic. We're waiting on one more team out of Pool A and two more teams out of Pool B. What have you guys made of the World Baseball Classic so far? Because I feel like we've had a lot of really good, really fun games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously, USA-Mexico was great for us Yankees fans. Aaron Judge showed that the arm, healthy in right field, showed that the pop, still there. Oppo Field. I think that if USA doesn't make it, I'll be taking my talents to the Dominican Republic because their team's just been fun, man. I mean, obviously it's a stacked roster, but Juan Soto with the warning track power, having to do the push-ups, the videos from the locker room, Vladdy dancing and such. So I think where this is at is really good for baseball because we kind of talked about this on the preview, but how competitive it is. Right. It's not like basketball where, USA is probably just going to win. And football doesn't have this yet. But when they do, in the beginning, I would assume it's going to be, USA is probably going to win. Japan, Puerto Rico, the DR, Korea's got a good squad. Venezuela's got a good squad. Italy, Mexico, they're competing. So USA, I hope that they advance because obviously that's where we're from and where a lot of the best players are, but we'll see.
It would be a really huge upset if they don't even make it out of pool play. I mean,
considering the biggest story is Italy.
Yeah, and I think Italy has a really pretty decent team there with Lorenzen, Nola, Pasquantino. I think Pasquantino I don't think has even had a hit yet. Caglione, I mean,
He just hit the home run to bring him up 5, a two-run shot to right. I think that was off of Yarborough.
but it's been fun to watch.
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
even that Brazil game. I mean, with you have was it Jose Contreras' son, 17-year-old pitching.
Lucas Contreras.
Yeah, and then you have what was it?
Bobichet's brother, Dante.
Bobichet's brother, and then someone else's son playing right field.
Manny Ramirez's
Manny
son.
Ramirez's son playing right field.
Lucas Ramirez.
Lucas Ramirez, yeah.
Yeah, the other one was Jose Contreras' son. His name's escaping me right now.
Yeah. Manny Ramirez's son looked really good in right field there. He had the home
Angels
run,
prospect.
Yeah. Are the Angels going to be good in a couple of years?
We'll see. They got.
I think a lot of their prospects were doing good in the World Baseball Classic.
They are. Every time I look up a player that I think's playing really well, whether it's a pitcher or a hitter, it's they're in the Angels system.
Or a White Sox player.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like
when you're so bad, you tend to get some good minor leaguers through the draft if you're always picking high.
Or they're in the Dodger system.
Yeah. But a rundown of where these scores are at right now as we record. Canada's up 3-2 over Puerto Rico in the bottom of the 6th. Like we said, Italy's up 5-0 on Team USA. They're in the bottom of the 4th. Team USA has only one lone hit. Japan beat Czechia 9-0, so that one is finished. We talked about that earlier, how everybody in that pool is done. Israel beat the Netherlands 6-2. So they're done there. Israel finishes 2-2. The Netherlands fall to 1-3. And then the last games of pool play, you have Canada, Cuba tomorrow at 3, Italy, Mexico at 7 tomorrow night, followed by the Dominican Republic and Venezuela at 8. Now, these games will be on or over by the time we, put this out. But as we stand, those games have not been played, nor the ones that are still ongoing. But what do we think is going to happen in this USA, Italy, Mexico? Because USA is down by a lot. So let's just say they lose. Let's say
No,
they do
that's
lose.
not what they're going to win.
I want them to win.
Bats are going to come alive.
the Bats haven't. I feel like have barely been alive this whole.
I don't know, man. If Italy beats Team USA, I feel like they'll
We're
probably
rooting
beat
for
Team
Italy.
Mexico.
Right. So, I mean, if Italy beats USA, USA's easiest path would be Italy beats Mexico.
I feel like that's what would happen.
Who would pitch when they play Mexico?
Who pitched for who?
Like, who is going to pitch for Italy when they play Mexico?
It is both to be determined for both teams.
So it'd be like if it was Nola, maybe I would say I would give him a greater chance of beating Mexico.
But
Just because I think he's one of
it'd be
their,
really sad if USA doesn't make it to the next round, especially with them being the tournament favorites.
Yeah.
But as a team, they've shown they can get hot and have big innings.
Yeah,
Just-
5 isn't nothing for this lineup.
Right, but the Bats just haven't been there consistently.
No, they haven't. But you look at the lineup, and yeah, they could get 5 runs in 5 innings pretty easily.
And we're already seeing Judge in midseason form, 2 home runs, and he's getting walked, intentionally walked. Like, if you're Schwarber, you have to kind of feel a little funny seeing somebody get intentionally walked because they want to face you.
Well,
Definitely an uncommon feeling for him, I'm sure.
it could have been a common feeling for him if he wanted to be a Yankee.
That's the regrets Bryce Harper is going through right now. Apparently,
How
him
about-
and Judge, we found out through this tournament, are extremely close, dating back to when Judge was trying to get him to become a Yankee back in 2018 when he was a free agent.
Back when he didn't want to play first base.
Yankees apparently didn't even call
They didn't-
Harper up back then. They
Yeah,
Because he didn't want to be a first baseman.
No, I thought the Yankees GM didn't think he could play first base.
Cashman
From
didn't
what
think Harper would be able to play first.
yeah,
And Harper also didn't want to play first at the time. Things changed. Rafael Devers didn't want to play first, and look at where we are now. But the World Baseball Classic, this is definitely the best tournament we've seen ever. And I think every year it's going to get more and more. We're seeing more major leaguers, more guys with experience playing. Like, look at Team Italy. You got guys like Vinny Pasquantino, Jack Caglianone, pitchers. I think you said Nola's there.
Nola's
have-
there. Yeah. Lorenzen.
Michael Lorenzen, who's playing, who pitched today and pitched extremely well. Francisco Cervelli, he's doing everything in his power to bring baseball to Italy and make it popular. And I was listening to the broadcast, and they said he spent the last 6 months living in Italy, just driving up and down the country, coaching, doing workouts, scouting, just trying to find talent there and bring baseball, make baseball big. And I think that is the next frontier is baseball. They broke through, obviously, South America, North America, Japan. Little League World Series, we see Taiwan always dominating. They just haven't broken through to the level they need to in Europe. So if they can really start developing Europe and do almost like a developmental league like the NFL has tried to do and get a lot of talent there, baseball could have another renaissance of great players because it's a whole untapped continent pretty much. So with that said, we will review the WBC this time next week. We'll have the quarterfinals and semifinals done. We might even, I don't know when the finals date is off the top of my head, but it's going to be around then. So we'll be talking the finals. But it's time to talk about one of the closest division races in all of baseball going into this season. And that's going to be the National League East.
Home of John's Phillies and Ben's Mets.
So, like we do every week, you rep it, John. Like we do every week, we'll go over the 2025 standings, go through each team, and then we'll talk about PECOTA and our projections. So last season, the Phillies, they won it 96 and 66. They were the 2 seed. The Mets came in second, 83 and 79. They missed the playoffs. The Marlins came in third, 79 and 83, followed by the Braves, 76 and 86, and the Nationals, 66 and 96. Now the Phillies, they were the 2 seed, but they lost to the Dodgers 3-1 in the NLDS. And it wasn't really a close matchup. It seemed like the Dodgers just waltzed right through.
Well, to be fair, that game one was, I mean, they had that one, and then for some reason, Rob Thompson didn't want to put Ranger Suarez in, and then blew the game. and then like the game they lost on, I mean, Kirk Green just sailed it over her home plate instead of throwing it the first.
There was also Buntgate.
Oh, don't forget, Duran walked the run in, walked the tie and run in.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, it's just
I disagree as well. I think it was a close 4-game series.
it was close, and if anything, the Phillies like more so lost it than the Dodgers won it.
Like I thought that was closer than the NLCS.
Yeah, that was a smacking.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little Washington Nationals. They added a couple guys. They added in free agency Zach Littell, a starter, 1 year, $7 million. Miles Michaelis, another starter, 1 year, $2.25 million. Foster Griffin, a reliever, 1 for $5.5 million. Drew Smith, Mets pitcher, 1 for $1.75 million. And they traded for Andre Granillo, a reliever. They got him from St. Louis. We talked about the Harry Ford trade when it happened, and then again with the Mariners. They bring him over from Seattle, a catcher. Great move for him because now he's not stuck behind Cal Raleigh. He has a chance to actually be a catcher and compete for a job. But they lost some considerable pieces. Josh Bell, he's now in Minnesota. Paul DeJong, he's with the Yankees. Derek Law, he's with Arizona. He's a reliever. Jorge Alfaro, the catcher's with Kansas City now. Mason Thompson, a reliever's with Texas. Jose Ferrer, they traded him to Seattle. That was part of that trade with Harry Ford. Mackenzie Gore, they sent him to Texas in a trade. There was a lot. And Jake Benner, he was traded to Boston. He's another starting pitcher. So with Washington losing some veterans, they have a very young core. Can their youthful group jump from promising pieces to actual productive pieces? Again, they have Adams, Cruz, Woods, Garcia Jr., Brady House. So a lot of really good pieces, but what can they do to take that next step?
Well, I think they got a good mix of young talent. Some guys that are already established, James Wood, CJ Abrams, I feel like have cemented themselves as quality MLB players at this point. I thought Lyle and Cruz both had solid 2025 campaigns. I'm excited to see what they could build on that for 2026 and see if they take a leap. And then you got a guy like Brady House who going to be the everyday third baseman who showed some promise, but if he could take a leap, the Nationals are certainly feeling a good spot. And then you got a lot of pieces that you got back in that Mackenzie Gore deal that, again, with your Wood and Abrams kind of leading the way, if you can project Cruz and Lyle to take a leap, if you can get 2 to 4, I don't want to say surprise, but impactful players in this campaign, I do think the Nationals have an ability to be sneaky good and sneaky competitive. The starting rotation isn't great, but they got a decent amount of arms that I think could eat innings throughout a regular season. Again, I don't think 2026 is fully about being a playoff team for the Nationals, but I do believe in 2027 that should be what their goal is to be. And this season, you find out who are going to be the leaders of that charge.
They're to me, they're basically the Cardinals of the NL East, but further along and where they're at in their rebuilding phase. Like right now, they're at the kind of, like you said, the end where like maybe not this year, but next year, maybe trying to sneak in and get a wild card spot.
Yeah, they remind me of the Athletics last year.
Yeah.
Now, the Nationals as a team, how much longer before they're like legitimately World Series viable, do we think? Or do we think that might take too long where we could see them need to start thinking about almost doing a quick rebuild on the fly if the pitching staff isn't there, like we saw with the Orioles, where they had all those great prospects, the pitching didn't match the offense, and now they're kind of in limbo?
Well, we'll talk about the Orioles next week, but I don't think anybody would doubt the Orioles lineup is World Series caliber. Obviously, they invested all their money and prospects into their lineup and nothing into their pitching. I would hope that the Nationals, if they had an Orioles level lineup, would spend money on starting pitching. It's tough to say. Obviously, I don't think the next 2 years, but it's really tough to project where a team's going to end up, especially a team that has this much young talent. Could the Nationals, if everything goes right, be a World Series contender team by 2028? Yeah, man, if some of these young stars really pop and then they spend money in free agency or trades over the trade deadline over the next 2 years and get some real viable starting pitching and maybe a strong closer, absolutely. In terms of a more, hey, with what we got timeline, maybe 2030.
So now let's go on to the Braves. The Braves, very injured last year, kind of really threw the league in for a loop because they were projected to be a playoff team. They were a wild card team the year before. So they added Raisel Iglesias, 1 year, $16 million to be a reliever. Joel Payamps, or another reliever, 1 year, $2.25. Danny Younger, reliever, 1 year for $925,000. Mike Yastrzemski to play right field, 2 years, $23 million. Robert Suarez, a reliever, 3 years for $45. They also brought in Ha-Sung Kim, 1 year, $20, but he's going to miss a few months with an injury that he got skating, I think. It says he hurt his hand on ice. So we'll see how much longer he's going to be out. They say 3 to 4 months for him. Ian Hamilton, a reliever, 1 year, $1 million. Tyler Kinley, reliever, 1 year, $4.25. Jorge Mateo, a shortstop, 1 for 1. And Jonah Heim, a catcher, 1 for $1.25. They traded for Mauricio Dubon, a utility man from Houston. Very, very notable move there. They extended Chris Sale 1 more year, 1 year, $27 million, with a club option for 1 for $30 in 2028. They did lose Alek Manoah to the Angels. Charlie Morton, he's still a free agent at 42 years old. Marcell Ozuna, he's now DHing in Pittsburgh. Dane Dunning, the starter, was in Seattle now. Alexis Diaz, he's relieving in Texas. And then Jared Kelenic, the man everybody thought was going to be a Met killer as revenge for the Edwin Diaz-Robbie Cano trade, signed a minor league deal with the White Sox. So how far the mighty have fallen. what are the expectations now for Atlanta coming off an injury-riddled year? Do we expect them to just hit the ground running, or could there be some readjustment period between being healthy as a team and having all the struggles they had with that?
I think if you're a Braves fan, the expectation should be to get back to the team you were 2 years ago, be a playoff level team, and hope to compete for a World Series. I don't think that that is an invalid expectation. I think when you look at the NL East as a whole, you could argue build wise, this is the most complete team in the division when healthy, in terms of it's a pretty fluid lineup all throughout. Olson, Austin Riley, Acuna, Michael Harris, proven guys, Drake Baldwin coming off of a fantastic rookie campaign. Dubon, I think, was a huge get. You have Yastrzemski. Yeah, bottom of the lineup guys, so you'll see what you can get out of there. When Sale and Strider are on, it's one of the best pitching duos in baseball.
That is going to be my next question, too, is the rotation deep enough after Sale and Strider?
I do think so with Lopez, Elder, Holmes, Schwellenbach, and Perez. I think that that's deep enough to eat innings throughout the regular season, especially. And I like Iglesias and Suarez at the bullpen.
Just Schwellenbach's going to start the season on the IL, though, so he's going to miss a couple of months. But when he's back, I mean, they have a really solid rotation, good depth all around. Out of the bullpen with Suarez, you're going to have a healthy Acuna for a whole year, Matt Olson. And I think Strider should start getting back into the swing of things now, too.
So, I'm interested to see what kind of season they get out of Austin Riley. He was a guy that kind of people were predicting to take an MVP leap. It didn't happen. Was it delayed, or is it just not going to come?
Or what does Drake Baldwin do in year 2?
Yeah.
That's another massive thing. I'm really intrigued by this team. I just don't know what to make of it because you had so many pieces hurt last year where there might be some growing pains between guys coming back from injury and reestablishing themselves versus guys that kind of had that job and how well they're going to gel together over 162. Now for the Marlins. Marlins, I don't know if they were surprising last year. They've always been pesky, but third place in the division. They added Christopher Morel to play first, 1 year, $2 million. Pete Fairbanks, reliever. This was a surprise move, 1 year, $13 million. Chris Paddock to shore up their rotation, 1 year, $4 million. And then John King, a reliever, 1 for $1.5 million. They traded for Estuary Ruiz from the Dodgers. Bradley Blaylock, a starter from Colorado. Owen Casey, we've talked about numerous times, from the Cubs to play outfield. But they did lose a bunch of guys. They traded away Dane Myers over to Cincinnati. Joey Weimer, he an outfielder now for the Giants. Eric Wagaman, they traded the utility man to Minnesota. Ryan Weathers, they traded to the Yankees in a big move. Edward Cabrera in that Owen Casey trade was traded to the Cubs. And they also lost Christian Roa to the Astros, a pitcher. Jack Winkler, another guy, went to the Astros, second baseman. Valente Belozo, he's a pitcher for Colorado now. And then Freddie Tarek, a reliever for he's a free agent. Nobody wanted him so far. So can this young core develop into a consistent offense?
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to bridge the gap in Miami between going all in on a rebuild and kind of trying to hit a quick retool on the fly, bringing in some young pieces, trading away Edward Cabrera, an interesting move, but you bring in Cassie, a guy who, we'll see what they got there, highly touted prospect. You pair him in the outfield with a guy like Kyle Stowers, who's already proven to be a productive player. Otto Lopez at short, Edwards at second base, a pretty solid infield there. Ramirez, obviously, at catcher, one of Corey's favorite players of all time. I feel like we talk about this every season, but Sandy Alcantara, if he has a year that we know he is capable of, that kind of changes everything for Miami. I like Fairbanks out the bullpen. I think he's a solid closer. So it feels like the Marlins set themselves up to be in a spot where over the first half of the year, they can try and compete, try and be a playoff team. And if it's not working out, there are pieces that they can move at the deadline to kind of hit a reset, which I don't necessarily hate considering they were pesky last year, like you mentioned.
Now, is a staff of Max Meyer, Sandy Alcantara, Yuri Perez, Braxton Garrett, Chris Paddock, is that something that's able to really compete in the NL East?
I mean, I wouldn't be happy or confident in it, but I think that there's some guys with the ceiling, like we know what Sandy could be. I think Perez and Meyer, if they reach their potential, it could be good. But would I bet hard-earned dollars on it? Probably not.
It's just the Marlins. They're a team that you want to root for. They are scrappy. They're the underdog. They always seem to be fun, but they also do things like trading away two really solid pitchers in Cabrera and Weathers. Now, these aren't trades that they got pennies on the dollar like they've done in the past, but it's still taking away from a young core and letting them, develop, and then you'll just trade them away. Like, how soon are we away from a Stowers or Augustin Ramirez or whoever, getting them traded away just so they can keep doing the same thing? But now for Ben's Metropolitans. The Mets have an abundance of money, and they need to finally start taking that money and making it turn into wins. They did go to the NLCS against the Dodgers a couple years ago, then missed the playoffs. But even the year they went to the NLCS, that was through the power of friendship and OMG. So when are they finally going to be I'll start off with this question before I get into what it is. This the year that they're finally expected to be good and will be good, or is it going to be the trade-off of they won't be good? Like they weren't expected to be much in 24 and then went to the NLCS. They're expected to do a lot of good things last season and fell short. Do we think they have a team that can put it together now, projected to be good and can be good?
Can be good. What defines good? Playoffs? NLCS?
Let's
World
go.
Series?
This isn't going to be your prediction. I won't hold it to you, but is this a team that can win the division, get a top 2 seed in the National League, and really compete for the World Series?
I mean, they absolutely can.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about the fact that they can do that. Bichette, Lindor, Soto to open up a lineup is disgusting as can be. The potential that you have out of guys like Luis Robert, Marcus Semien, Francisco Alvarez, some of that's obviously, for Semien. Does he have one more great year left in him? Robert, now that he's freed from the hell that is the Chicago White Sox, does he get back to producing and having fun playing baseball? Can Alvarez or Vientos put together a really strong power season that we know they have the potential to? Then you look at the starters. Peralta, I know we've kind of talked about this at different points. I think I'm the highest on him out of the three of us, but I think he's a top 10 starting pitcher in baseball today. Then you got Peterson, Holmes, McLean, Manaea, Senga, Tong, guys that I like to fill out that rotation. Devin Williams, of course, because he left the Yankees to go to the Mets, he's going to go back to being an elite closer. This is predetermined, pre-written. Luke Weaver will probably be fantastic. I like Tobias Myers. I like Raleigh. I like Minter. All the pieces are there for the Mets. There's no doubt about that. You got to produce on the field now.
I think offensive-wise, I think they're pretty solid, and that can be
I mean, the lineup's got to be the best in the division from a pure batting standpoint.
Absolutely. It has to be at least in the argument, if not leading the argument.
My thing is just with their pitching depth, especially for the bullpen and the starting pitcher. Because, I mean, like Freddie Peralta is good. He's their ace, solid pitcher, no doubt about that. But when you start going after him, like it starts to get, like as you go down in the rotation, it gets shakier and shakier. And then, I mean, and Devin Williams, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean, that's definitely what everyone is say is definitely a downgrade from Edwin Diaz.
I mean, see.
Edwin Diaz is the best reliever in baseball.
I'm just saying.
Right. I'm just saying, I think there's a world where Devin Williams just shoves. My biggest concern for this team is the defense.
Well, here,
Bichette at third.
Before we get into that, let's go through their additions and all that, because I do have a question that I need to ask you guys. So they added in free agency MJ Melendez, outfielder from the Royals, 1 year for 1.5. Luis Garcia, a reliever, 1 year for 1 3/4. Bo Bichette to play third base, 3 for 126. Luke Weaver, reliever, 2 years, 22. Jorge Polanco to play first base, 2 years for 40. Devin Williams, a reliever, 3 for 51. They traded for Freddie Peralta from Milwaukee, Luis Robert from the White Sox, Marcus Semien from the Rangers, Vidal Brujan they got from Minnesota. And then they traded away Ryan Helsley. Ryan Helsley left to go to Baltimore. Nick Madrigal left to go to the Angels. Jorge Castillo, he left and still a free agent out there. They also lost Starling Marte to Kansas City. Jesse Winker is a free agent still. Ryan Stanek to St. Louis. Cedric Mullins to Tampa Bay. Griffin Canning to San Diego. Tyler Rogers to Toronto. Gregory Soto to Atlanta. Max Kranick, he's still a free agent. Danny Young, he went to Atlanta. Drew Smith, like we said earlier, went to Washington. Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers. Pete Alonso to Baltimore. And then they traded away Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams to Milwaukee in that Freddie Peralta trade. Jeff McNeil went to the A's. Brandon Nimmo went to the Rangers in a Marcus Semien swap. And Luis Angel Acuna, he was the centerpiece of the Luis Robert trade. So now with all that said, I think the thing that I'm really curious about with this team, they hired a lot of middle infielders to play a lot of non-middle infield positions. So will the second base heavy team that's all playing out of position work?
Hey, Simeon's in position.
Semien and Lindor are in position.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Polanco is not. Bichette is not.
I know Twitter is Twitter, but Bichette hasn't looked good at third base on Twitter. Jorge Polanco at first. Not your typical first baseman, not necessarily the size. And, you know, for a guy in Bichette who maybe have some errant throws, you'd probably like a lengthier first baseman to capitalize, you know, be able to work with on that. Semien at second, I don't know how great he is anymore. If we're just calling a spade, I have to be honest. As I'm sitting here looking at the Mets projected lineup, Semien would be my DH, Bichette would be at second, and Vientos or Beatty would be playing third in their position. Or if Vientos was the guy, maybe Vientos at first and Polanco at third. I don't believe where we are today is where the Mets infield will end the season, even if everybody is healthy.
I just don't think playing that many guys out of position is a recipe for long-term success.
I also question Juan Soto in left defensively.
Yeah, that too. He's not known to be a great defender. And then playing a guy that's only played right field virtually in left.
And then Luis Robert is decent in center, but you'd like somebody to be elite in center if Soto's in left. So I don't know how much it'll kill him over the course of 162, but in the big games and important games where every little play really matters, this would be my main concern for a Mets team in a playoff run. Are you going to just be out executed in terms of playing baseball? It was famously said by the Dodgers that was their game plan to beat the Yankees 2 years ago in the World Series. Force these guys to play baseball. It feels like that could be a similar strategy when playing this Mets team.
What's a real head scratcher is I remember watching the winter meetings and they were talking about the Mets and they said the Mets wanted to go really heavy on defense this free agency. And it seemed like every move they made seems to be counterintuitive to what they wanted to go into free agency doing. So I'm not really sure what happened, what the plan there was.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either. That said, though, still a killer lineup.
The lineup's killer, but you started.
I mean, the amount of runs they're going to score, I guess they could afford to give some errors up, right?
But with a pitching staff anchored by Peralta and Senga, is the 3-4-5 going to be enough to keep them afloat? You have a lot of young guys.
I like McLean, man.
McLean, I'm going to pretend today didn't happen in the WBC.
He didn't give up 2 home runs. He
has been electric last season. He was awesome. And then my favorite of what was the trio, now the duo, is Jonah Tong. I think he
got sent down to AAA, though.
I know, but the comparisons to Tim Lincecum are spot on. I think he's got just such nasty stuff. And then they still have Frankie Montas to do whatever Frankie Montas does.
I think Clay
If
Holmes
they
is
get
gonna
anything,
be
I know
good.
he's hurt. Clay Holmes is there.
Yeah.
Holmes, I still think, is better suited for the bullpen. But he's going to end up being their 3, I think, to at least start. But you'd rather get the young guys in there at some point with more, higher leverage spots.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about John's Phillies. Look at that
The-
smile. The man who
Phillies.
loves his team. So the Phillies, they added or retained, I should say, JT Realmuto, catcher, 3 years, 45. Kyle Schwarber to play DH, 5 years, 150. They added Zach Pop, 1 year, 900K. Brad Keller, reliever, 2 years for 22. Adolis Garcia to play right. He fixes their outfield problems, I'm sure. 1 year, 10 million. They traded away Chase Shugart. He was a reliever. He went to Pittsburgh. Kyle Backus, he's a reliever. He went to Arizona. Jonathan Bowlen, a reliever to Kansas City. Yaniel Currit, a starter, went to Tampa Bay. They also gave Jesus Luzardo a 5-year extension, 5 years, 135. That just happened. Before we do anything else, John, how do you feel about Luzardo and the extension?
I'm happy. I'm really, really happy about that, considering that they didn't sign Ranger Suarez back. And I think in Wheeler, I believe.
Who would
is
you have
in-
preferred?
You know what? Luzardo's been a lot better. I mean, I like Ranger. I really do like Ranger, but I mean, if I had
The
to
head
pick-
says Lazardo, the heart
but
says Ranger.
yeah, exactly.
Luzardo's younger too. Don't forget.
Yeah, head says like Dylan said, heart Ranger Suarez, but my head Luzardo is the better signing.
So you
And it-
believe that Dave Dombrowski is really good at his job? Is what we're hearing.
I don't know about that, but I'm just saying because they needed to do that because I believe Wheeler is going to retire after this contract. So his contract's up here, if I remember him saying
When's his
that.
contract up? Is this a contract year?
I think after next year. I think so. I think he is this year and then next year, and then I believe his contract's up. I think. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it is. But I remember him saying that he's done after this year. I mean, they have Nola locked up basically until he's done. They gave Sanchez an extension. He's, I think, there for a while, and they have a club option, so he's locked up. I think they can have him to like 2030 plus, I think, and stuff. And then Painter's coming up, but like they really needed to extend Luzardo. Like that's huge for their pitching staff. Also, you said also they got Backhouse. They didn't trade him away.
My bad. They got back.
Yes.
Those are the guys that they traded for.
Yes.
They lost, though, Nick Castellanos to the Padres. David Robertson retired. Max Kepler, he's suspended and a free agent. Walker Buehler, he's a starter that went to San Diego. Ranger Suarez to Boston. Jordan Romano went to the Angels.
Thank God.
And Harrison Bader is now in San Fran, not in Philadelphia. So how do we feel about the Phillies outfield arrangement?
Well, I think the way it's looking right now, it's going to be Marsh in left. You're going to have Justin Crawford in center, and then Garcia in right, I believe.
I can't believe we're watching Carl Crawford's son play baseball now.
Yeah.
Makes me feel old.
Yeah, not a lot of outfield depth.
No.
For the Phillies. And McCutchen signed that deal with the Rangers. I thought
Yeah.
Philly was a spot for him,
Yeah.
and
I was
like it.
I was talking to my dad the other day, and I'm like, I wish they would have signed McCutchen, especially with Rojas looking like that he's going to be.
Yeah,
Still not sure what's going on.
I
with
haven't
that,
heard
'cause,
much say that appeal went good.
They haven't said anything.
Would
He hasn't said anything, and he's been playing in the spring training games.
Could we
So-
get to the point where Schwarber might need to pick up his glove and play a little outfield?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd be more so. I would think though they put Otto Kemp out and left, and then move Marsh over to center or right if they need
Yep.
to.
That's what I think that'll
So-
be the move. I even think they'd be willing to throw Edmundo Sosa out in the outfield before
Yeah.
Schwarber.
What about Harper playing a little bit more outfield? So
Oh.
Harper said he's up for it, but I don't know if they want to risk him throwing after that injury. But I think he's staying at first.
I think it's a lock first base Harper, lock Schwarber DH. The positions are not changing.
So, but
now,
then they have Aiden Miller, who I think he's going to be up this year, but he's hurt right now with his back. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Because I was thinking that they'd come up and they might trade Bohm away and then have him start third, but it's looking like that's not going to happen.
You're stuck with Bohm.
Yeah. Well, it's his contract year, so I might as well.
Now, the Phillies do have an older core. So how much more championship baseball does this core have left before it's rebuild time for the Phillies?
I mean, have
Given
they
them-
been, have
given
they
that-
been have they been playing championship
I mean,
level?
they were in the World Series a couple years ago.
I mean, they've been
they were the
making the
2 seed
playoffs.
last year.
But
So, assuming that they're a playoff team or a playoff competitive team this year, is this the final year of what the Trey Turner, Real Muto, Harper, Schwarber core is? Is there one more year after that? How much longer can this group of Phillies go before it's time to blow it up?
I got your answer. However long, if he can get back to it, Zach Wheeler could be an ace. Did we already witness the end? It's on the board.
And that brings me to my next question of how do the Phillies handle losing Suarez and a lot of uncertainty surrounding Wheeler and his shoulder and his arm?
Andrew Painter be a god.
he's been having a really good spring, Andrew Painter. Like, he's looking like
Well, I would hope so. This is
He's
the
looking
Phillies
like the
version
guy,
of
yeah.
Jason Dominguez.
yeah.
Oh, this prospect we got, wait until you see him. Has been the last 4 years.
He's been up, and then he got set back because he had to get Tommy John. So I mean, like this, this is the year. This is
That's
the year.
the thing you always
Finally,
love to hear about your pitching
I mean,
prospects.
that is
He got Tommy John, but he's still,
he's still good.
is- He's
he-
the X factor of their season. Truthfully, if he can live up to being a top prospect, and I'm not saying be Paul Skeens, but if he can live up to being a steady 3 for
If he
this rotation,
if he can pitch at Aaron Nola's, a bottom tier Aaron Nola expectation, is that
no.
enough?
I think he's like old Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
Yes, current Aaron Nola, he's got to be better than.
Now, what if he pitches at Christopher Sanchez's level?
Well,
Oh,
then
then
this
the-
team's in
Great
business,
shape.
dude.
they're in really good shape.
Guy was a
especially
Cy
if
Young
Wheeler comes
finalist.
back- especially if Wheeler comes back pitching like he did, and you have Wheeler,
I
Sanchez,
really like
Luzardo, and then Painter's pitching like Sanchez.
I mean, Painter
mean,
is the X factor. Also, does Painter hold up? Hasn't played a full MLB season.
Right. They're probably gonna his innings. He's not gonna have a full, full usage.
I mean, they just don't have the guys for him not to have a full usage. Like, as of right now, Taijuan Walker is getting
He's-
starting rotation time.
Italy's up 7-0, by the way.
USA might be them. That's not good.
It's
But
just
they
been
also,
tomorrow.
though, the Phillies also have that Gage Wood they drafted last year, who I think possibly, because he was coming out of college, could
I
possibly.
just also
up
think
close
there's going to be
to-
guys that the Phillies could get. I mean, if we look up free agent pitchers right now, I bet there's some old guys on the market
There's for
right
depth
now
stuff.
that
I
like.
wish they would have signed Bueller back, like just like guys for minor league contracts, just to have their waiting, and they did none of that. But there's also like the trade deadline when that comes up too. They can possibly fill needs that way too,
Yeah, there'll be some old
Yeah,
guys
so
that they
they'll
can
be-
trade for.
yeah. or
Trying to look
expiring
at it right
contracts.
now, first catchers.
First-
Patrick Corbin, Nestor Cortez, Lucas Giolito,
Trade for Joe Ryan.
John Gray, Marcus Stroman, Tony Gonsolin. Like, just some inning eaters, but they're available.
All right, let's now go talk some shop. We got Pacoda, their projections as of the day we record. My projections, all your predictions. Let's go bottom to top.
Should we
Dylan,
have
let's
Dylan guess Ben's
Let's have Dylan
before we
guess.
go?
So I'm going to read Pacoda. Dylan will give Ben's. Dylan will give his own, and we'll go from there. Pacoda has the Nationals in last place, 67 and 95.
I believe me and Ben will have the same last place, and that is the Miami Marlins.
That would be correct.
And I have the
have
Nationals.
Jinx.
Yeah.
John and I have the Nationals in last.
Yep.
Pacoda has the Marlins in fourth place, 75 and 87.
I would believe Ben and me would have the same fourth place with the Washington Nationals.
That is accurate. John, who do you have?
I have the Marlins, of course.
I also have the Marlins in fourth. Pacoda has the Phillies in third, 86 and 76.
I believe me and Ben will have the same third place team, that being the Philadelphia Phillies.
John, where are you at?
I have the Mets in third.
You have the Mets in third.
The Mets in third.
Was I correct? Did Ben have the Phillies in third?
You were, and so do I. I have the Phillies in third.
You have them missing the playoffs.
Don't spoil my fun. Second place, Pacoda has the Mets at 89 and 73.
I believe this is where me and Ben go our separate ways. I believe Ben has the Braves, and I know that I have the Mets.
So Ben actually has the Mets in second place.
Oh,
Yeah.
me and Ben went bar for bar.
John, who do you have in second?
The Phillies.
And I have the Braves in second.
Ooh.
Leading the division, Pacoda has the Braves at 89 and 73.
All of us but you have the
All of
Braves.
us, yeah.
Just remember, you heard it here first. I'm the only one on the pod that believes in the Mets to win the division.
And have probably and I think
So,
have the
I mean,
Phillies
you
not
must be
playoffs.
public enemy number one for John. Phillies out the playoffs. Mets winning the division.
Mets winning the division. Braves is a wild card. Philly is not a playoff team in 2026.
I debated it. I couldn't do Diamondbacks over Philly. That was where I drew the line. You know, I do have concerns about Zach Wheeler. Andrew Painter hasn't seen a full MLB schedule. The pitching does concern me. Taijuan Walker is just a disaster game waiting to happen. The lineup's getting older. I don't trust the health of some of those guys. I don't trust the outfield. That's where, to me, over 162, the Phillies did fall. I still think come playoff time, they're going to be just as dangerous as anybody, especially when the playoff rotation shortens, if Wheeler's been out there being healthy, and you have guys with playoff experience. I just don't view them as a regular season team this year.
John, who do you have in the playoffs?
Well, since I have 3 spots left, and it was the Phillies, Mets, Braves, I have the Phillies, Mets, Braves.
Now,
So our NL seeding, we could discuss where we have all these teams, I'd imagine.
I want to save that for the projections.
Okay.
Where we do.
Yeah.
We're going to have all of our awards predictions.
And then the World Series predictions.
We'll do a whole playoff bracket type prediction.
Okay.
So again, just to run it through, Ben, his 5, Atlanta winning, followed by the Mets, Phillies, Nationals, and Marlins. John, you have Atlanta, Philly, Mets, Miami, Washington. Dylan, Atlanta, the Mets, Philly, Washington, Miami. And I have the Mets, Atlanta, Philly, Miami, Washington. John, this is your division. This is your teams, your enemies. Do you have any final NL East thoughts about how you think this season's going to go?
Well, to put it at this, I was originally going to have the Phillies at third and the Mets second, the Braves first, but I was trying to be optimistic. The Phillies. So I'll leave it at that.
And just to cap it off on a bitter note, Italy's up now 8-0. USA could be facing elimination tomorrow in the Mexico-Italy game.
Today when you're seeing it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it already happened.
That's a shame. Either RIP or wait to get lucky and get in. Now go make some noise. Whichever one's going to be the accurate one, that's the one I'm going to go with. But for John, Pauline, Dylan, Mel, I'm Corey Jason. This has been the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Signing off.